Welcome back to Dal Podcast. We are on our episode 5, and we are going to touch on a very interesting topic looking at digital democracy and donor expectations. How do you see it evolving, and what should change? What should remain the same? What's your view, Chipo?
Oh, thank you so much, Helen, for that very interesting question. One recommendation that I had that has already happened, as being here today, was one of the interventions I thought that donors could actually use in betterning the next cohorts as they are building up on capacity building and offering support to their partners. Um, the reason why I think we came for the co-design is that they're able to gather information and learn from us. Some of the important issues that we're raising, like we cannot measure impact to some of the activities, and then also the delayments that are involved in the project. It's a whole process and a build up. So they have to be flexible that for some aspects, you can't really quantify the data. So I think through this process, they'll actually find some opportunities and insights to build on to better structures for the next cohorts. So I appreciate the experience for the code design and also the experience through the DAO lab. I mean, it was an experiment after all, but thankful that we had so many successes despite the challenges. So I would really love to appreciate that. It takes strength, courage from each one and every one of you guys' organizations to push forward, regardless of the barriers that you face. So yeah, I appreciate the code design, and I think it's one of the great ways to strengthen their capacity building in terms of them hosting their partners for the co-creation or the cohort 1 or 2, so that we learn from each other and also are able to impact others as we're here to offer support to cohort 2 through our experiences.
Yeah, and in this situation, I will like to reflect back while we were working and what kind of challenges we faced and the ideal scenario that it could happen. So talking about the donor kind of thing and facing the some kind of challenges while working with that, one of the major thing for us was not getting there are lots of indigenous community in Nepal, and while we are doing reporting, we need to do provide full phrase report in English. So indigenous people who do not know even the national language of Nepal, which is Nepali, and we are expecting them to write report in English, which is actually not feasible at all. So, in order to make the all the process inclusive enough, I really feel they need to recognize every state language, or they can come with other alternatives as well, so that all the people who are from indigenous community, marginalized community, can also participate in DAR project. So, I think that is one of the issue that I like to highlight. And apart from that, I will also want to share that donor agency need to believe and have trust and faith with the Global South organization as well, because the process is such a lengthy kind of work and it is so hectic, and getting a very generic kind of response like, we are sorry to share you that we have lots of application like that and we can't move forward with your application. Instead that they can provide a brief kind of explanation what should we can apply to make our project more inclusive enough or more powerful enough. So that providing recommendation will be a great thing, but they are just providing a generic response. Instead, we have put out so much energy and effort and time preparing the project and all other planning related things. So I think shifting the power from elites to the local people could be a great alternative. So I really believe in shifting the power. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yes, I think for me, I would I think one of the advice is when donors are designing, they need to uh try as much as possible to balance innovation with context, because there are so many, like, it's not one cap fits all, right? Then we have several. Digital will mean differently, as we see in this project. Digital can mean radio, and so in the conceptualization of the donor funding, they need to look at, like, as you said, for inclusivity, look at um 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 countries that do not speak English, for example, and find a way to receive applications in other language and provide recommendations is important. And I think that flexibility in funding is important, right? As much as we call this a lab, if the funding is not flexible, it's hard for us to experiment. Right. It's hard for us to experiment, because again, we'll still be going from, because the budget is a policy instrument. It dictates your projects. So if we are in the midst of doing a project and we are not flexible with because you can go to a school now and something you just think that this is the best way to do it, this experiment, and this will work better, but because there's a line in your budget that says this is what you can do, you can't do it. So it limits experimentation, actually. So the fact is that we need flexibility in our funding. That say, oh, we have given you this amount. Of course, give us proper recording. But if you do another thing that's not what you put on your budget line, and we understand that it's also because it's more impactful at that time, yeah, you should be able to accept that. But that rigidity, it doesn't allow for more experimentation, because if you pivot, there's punishment for pivoting, because it's not on the budget line. We don't refund you, or you get, it's a big problem, right? So
Yeah, and I want to agree to that. It's, for example, when organizations have flexibility, it's possible to work with the people, because what happened? They ask you for receipts, for example. You need a receipt for for each expenses that you have. But for example, what happened with the people who has not the possibility to give you receipts? How you prove that that was a payment? In our case, that we work with the community, we want to work with the people of our community, but we can't, because we doesn't have that flexibility to say, okay, give me one receipt. They has not the possibilities. And other thing that I think that they should change, they have to trust in their organizations in the way that we use the money, because I don't understand. We show them the results. We show them what we did with our project. We show them our products, but the payment is attached to the financial report. So what is the most important thing? The way that we use the money, or the results of our project? And that was something that I really want to change, because if we use the money, okay, we use the money, we show them the results, but if the payments are delayed because we was difficult to prove the use of the money, how we can continue, for example, the processes in our organization, how we can continue working, because, for example, we have to stop some processes in our organization to keep showing the results. And well, that affects us too much. That affects us too much because other things in the organization keep going more than this project. And I want to work with the organization, not for the organization. And sometimes feels like that we have a contract that we have to just complete all the goals that we wanted. But what happens if we fail? But what happens if, for example, the use of the resources change? Or what happens if, for example, after implementing the project, we have more money. We have more money for us. So they are going to take that money because we are not using it. For sure, we can use it in continuing our programs. But maybe they are not part of the project, but helps other projects, and our organization will be continue working. And that is the most important thing. I believe that organization continue working for the community, working with the projects, with the funds of the external projects, or for example, the Digital Action Lab. And what about if the funds of the Digital Action Lab helps the other projects that we have in our organization? We accomplish the goals, but we need to keep going. So it's something that we really need, and during the implementation. So I don't know if it happens to you that the percentage that you have to spend in different kind of activities. For example, personnel, you have to spend this percentage. Expenses, this percentage. Okay, but we need what we know how to use the money, and with this kind of divisions in the budget affects us. It affects us because make it harder to implement the project that we want. And as you said, this is a lab. In the lab, we need to make an experiment. Something new could happen during the process, as if it's not expected in the budget. How you fix that? And other thing is the way that, for example, the exchange of the money. In our country happens that they pay us in dollars, we receive it in pesos. The exchange of the money is variable.
Yeah.
So in one time you receive more money, another time you receive less money. But you have to accomplish the project using the dollars that you plan in the budget. So it's so difficult, and you need approval to change the expenses in your budget. How you can in a laboratory? Okay, first one I need to do me. I need approval and make mistakes. I need approval to change. It's affects the implementation of the project. Or no, we have delays in the payment because you wasn't able to report your financial expenses. In our case, we work with children's and with schools. They had a strict schedule during the year. So if we try to implement the project, and in that moment we didn't have the funds. So with the strict schedule of the schools, it's impossible to change it. So we want to make a change according to the environment, according to the context, but the donor didn't give you the money on time because there are strict rules. So how you can experiment, because we have to follow the rules of other countries, because those countries are not based in your country. They are based in a foreign country. So following the rules of an external country inside your country, that doesn't make sense.
Exactly, Andres. Flexibility should be a major thing so that one can experiment, one can change, and then how we can learn and grow. And even in our own experience, when we go to the rural setting, and lots of shops, even after purchasing the logistic kind of thing, they do not provide the specific bill, and they simply told us that they do not have bill. So either you can take if you want, or if you want bill, then you can't. So just you can let it go. So we encounter this kind of response on the daily basis while doing the workshop and other kind of events. So that was really a challenging task, as you mentioned. So I really like to know about your Adim. What kind of
Yeah.
problems that you face?
Yeah. So, regarding this, I really would like to talk about like high level problem with donors, which really affected Kyrgyz people and our organization as well. So I want to talk about a little about the inconsistency that we can see right now, because we saw that European Parliament made several strong statements condemning human rights violations in Kyrgyzstan, and then especially around the freedom of speech and freedom of assembly. But then, not long after, the European Union went ahead and signed new agreements with the Kyrgyz government. So, of course, Kyrgyz government has no motivation to listen to the international community. So, because
while one part criticizes, the other continue to do business. And I think it really do not protect activists and journalists in Kyrgyzstan, because when they do these statements, it's one part. But when Kyrgyz government continue to make these multi-billion dollars agreements with the European Union, it makes us, it doesn't help to the situation, to be honest. So maybe the one thing I would like to ask, a little bit consistent position about how do you, as a donor, approach this thing. If you want to help civil societies, maybe then government should live to the standard of a democratic country before you make the agreements with them. And the second point, on the bigger level, in Kyrgyzstan, human rights organization has a female face. Like most majority of the professionals in Kyrgyzstan who works in this field are women, and they struggle from two oppressions, like patriarchy, which is huge in Kyrgyzstan, and the dangerous work of human rights defender. So if it's possible, it's going to be better to donors be more gender sensitive when helping these organizations in Kyrgyzstan and Central Asia as well, I think. So this is on a higher level from my side. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Adam, and thank you all of you for the great points. I do agree with most of them, and just in addition, I would want, as we continue on this journey of digital democracy, I'd want to bring to attention to donors that in as much as you're moving to a digital aspect, it is important to consider that democracy should be inclusive. When you talk about inclusivity, then it's not necessarily that digital aspect becomes fancy innovations, but do they serve the community that they're created to serve? So it should be a bit flexible to allow for even the low bits of technology as well, so that we can include the marginalized communities and so, so that we don't leave them behind. We go with the digital aspect, and then we leave a whole lot of people behind just because you're moving towards the fancy kind of digital innovation. So not necessarily all innovation should come in form of fancy applications and such. Are they really working for some of the communities? Maybe let's look at inclusivity in that aspect. And then I would think that it is important for donors, because they do not know what happens to the ground, to include civil society organizations as they're designing these funds, so that they can know a few pointers of what happens and what will be better. Normally use a phrase in Kenya to say that uh, on the actual implementation side. So we normally say something qua ground. On the actually implementation side, more of what we think sometimes does not translate directly to what will happen on that aspect. So like they should include CSOs in designing these funds. Maybe more it will solve a little bit of such problems such as flexibility and such, because it's good that they understand our point as well, in as much as we do understand them, and then together, even as we put our efforts together, as they put their resources, as we put our effort, that it becomes of great service to the community in general.
Yes, and let's hear from Luis and Ahmed. What he has.
What they point.
What are you saying here?
For me, digital transformation has main meaning of changing our mindsets as leaders of civil society actors, as leaders of different institutions. Changing our mindset is so key in order to make more informed decisions, more effective decisions that could have a bigger impact in the work we do. And I think when we talk about digital transformation on actors and NGOs from the global south, what we're talking mostly about is we're talking about changing our mindset, changing our perspective, and changing how do we interact as civil society organizations, as leaders of civil society organizations. How do we interact with technology on a daily basis, and how do we interact with technology in the work we do? And changing our mindset around these topics is key for organizations in the global south, from my perspective.
So when we talk about digital transformation, I think it's not a question anymore. It's a must that we all should move toward this. With AI, with everything happening now in the world, I think we are in a way or another forced to follow this, and we have to respect this. And let's say take it in consideration. It's useful to use digital tools in order to boost your work, in order to market your work, to advocate better, and also to save your information in a good way and safe way. Also, it will be useful to analyze things easier and practical way and present it to the audience and your target in a good way. So I think civil society should really consider that digital solutions is useful, but they need to pick a good solution for them.
And then you can wrap up, right?
It's a very big effort.
Good. So, this is a last episode. For us to close this episode, I would like us to describe the Digital Action Lab in one word.
Wow. That's really
The experience.
A lot of podcasts, more than 1 hour, and you want
Okay, let's do it.
The experience, the lesson learned is one word one powerful word.
But to make it inclusive, as we told, try to make it in the language that you want.
Or we can say both so that we could understand the word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we go first.
Wow, thank you for throwing a hard question and throwing me deep into the ocean. You don't even have a word. I'll use an exclamation like, whoa.
Wow. Okay, in one word. Could be a short phrase?
Yes.
Oh, okay, one word. La palabra que utilizaré es
Such a long word.
creer. Believe. Creer.
Ah,
That's lovely.
all that word for just belief. Okay.
Okay, for me, it's such a challenging task. Okay, for me, I think I will overall want to say the word will be parivar. So it refers family. Yeah, I met a lot of you and all the fellows. So it feels like a family to me, the CIVICUS family. So yeah.
Yes.
Okay, my word is gonna be erkindik, which means freedom in Kyrgyz language, because everything we do is for freedom. Yeah.
My word would be solid. So everything was challenges was solid challenges, solid lessons learned, solid
Solid result.
solid results.
Yeah.
So I don't know my native language for solid. I don't think we developed it yet. It's for we.
For me, it would be togetherness. I've learned so many things from different organizations. Some ideas very commendable. I've learned from Andreas that we could actually incorporate the puppets in addressing young children. So togetherness is my word, and it's translated as tonse.
I want to retake mine and move from an exclamation to a word, a Kiswahili word, tunaweza, meaning we are able.
Thank you for watching us. We are cohort 1 of the Real Action Lab.